How strong is that?
You can walk on this thing.
You can walk on it?
Yeah. It's very strong. It's like, so if you've got some valuable cargo in the back, this will protect your cargo and secure it against being stolen.
Once hailed as indestructible and the future of trucks, Tesla's most hyped machine is now facing a wave of scrutiny. In just over a year, it has been recalled 8 times and is under investigation, revealing a much different reality than what was originally promised. Beneath the Cybertruck's sharp, futuristic exterior lies a widespread structural issue that remained hidden or unspoken until now. The feature in question exists in a space smaller than that of America's most popular pickup, the F-150. Tesla didn't exaggerate in its dimensions. There was no deception in width, height, or length. But even mainstream voices are now raising concerns. On Fox News, Jesse Waters questioned how a vehicle so heavily marketed as bulletproof could be falling apart at the seams, calling it one of the most embarrassing product failures in recent history. With new investigations and internal leaks emerging, the truth is finally cutting through the steel facade. What they've uncovered in nearly every Cybertruck is more troubling than expected. Wrapped in stainless steel and styled like a military machine, the Cybertruck was meant to represent the future. Tesla marketed it as a breakthrough in durability and design, resistant to the typical weaknesses of traditional vehicles. It wasn't just about style. With its brushed metal body and geometric exoskeleton, it was a bold declaration of a new era. But that declaration is now showing visible cracks, literally. What once appeared to be a stainless steel marvel now faces growing criticism. It looked like something from a dystopian film, rugged, electric, and bulletproof. Tesla envisioned a tomorrow shaped by strength over comfort, and utility over aesthetics. With its stark, angular design, the truck rejected the soft elegance of modern vehicles. When Elon Musk revealed the Cybertruck in 2019, it wasn't just a product unveiling, it was a global event. He promised unmatched durability, withstanding sledgehammers, deflecting bullets, and towing more than any truck on the market. The announcement made waves online. Hundreds of thousands of pre-orders came in. Even those who never considered buying an electric truck were suddenly eager to claim their place in Tesla's vision of the future. Musk described it as a polarizing design, meant to be either loved or hated. But more importantly, it was about brute strength. This wasn't just another EV, it was a symbol of disruption, power, and freedom. It was built to be a fortress on wheels. Its specs were almost unbelievable. An exterior made from ultra-hard 30x cold-rolled stainless steel. Armored glass. A towing capacity of 14,000 pounds. And a bold promise of zero compromise. The Cybertruck was supposed to be the final word in durability. But when the first units hit the streets, reality quickly began to erode the myth. Owners noticed early signs, subtle at first, then increasingly obvious. Hairline cracks, warped panels, and misaligned parts were reported straight from the factory. The problems weren't isolated, they were widespread. And what was found beneath the surface turned out to be even worse than imagined. As 2025 began, Tesla's flagship vehicle had been on the road for just over a year. In that short time, it had already been recalled 8 separate times. A vehicle once seen as a symbol of progress was now drawing concern and criticism. Tesla had built a reputation for pioneering electric vehicles, starting with sedans and evolving to the bold design of the Cybertruck. But technological revolutions are rarely smooth. What was once celebrated as the most daring automotive design in decades was now plagued by significant technical issues. These ranged from inverter failures to accelerator pedals getting stuck in floor mats, problems that pointed to deeper flaws in production. While Tesla was quick to respond, addressing many of the issues through recalls and standard corporate fixes, the volume of problems suggested more than just surface-level mistakes. It was becoming clear that the issues stemmed from something fundamental. This wasn't just a young company working through growing pains. It looked like there was a design flaw no one had foreseen. Then, in May 2025, the most serious recall yet was announced, one that could define the Cybertruck's legacy for years to come. A critical defect affected 46,096 Cybertrucks, all manufactured between November 13, 2023, and February 27. In 2025, the numbers were staggering, and the consequences were even more alarming. For the first time, the Cybertruck wasn't being recalled over simple electronic glitches or minor cosmetic flaws. This time, the recall was due to a severe structural problem. A sleek metallic panel running alongside the windshield had come loose during highway driving. This wasn't just a visual imperfection, it was a serious concern that compromised the structural strength of the entire vehicle. The panel wasn't merely for show, it played a key role in the roof's structural support system, helping to stabilize the truck's entire body. And now, it was detaching. That a vehicle marketed as bulletproof and virtually indestructible could have such a core defect shook the confidence of its earliest supporters. Tesla's reputation for building tough, innovative vehicles had taken a hit. How could a truck with such bold promises fail to keep its panels intact at high speeds? The news of the recall rippled through the auto industry. How could a vehicle promoted as the future of transportation collapse under such basic engineering failures? Investors, tech fans, and buyers who had trusted the Cybertruck's vision were now questioning whether those promises were ever practical or just part of another one of Musk's ambitious dreams that reality couldn't support. This wasn't only about repairing a defective part, it struck at the heart of Tesla's brand, the trust in its manufacturing standards, and the credibility of electric trucks. Could Tesla bounce back from such a major error? Would the Cybertruck ever live up to the futuristic image Tesla had meticulously crafted? Or would it go down as another example of bold ideas that couldn't deliver? Ultimately, this recall wasn't just about one truck, it symbolized the fine line Tesla and Elon Musk walked between brilliance and failure. As more flaws were uncovered, the Cybertruck began to seem less like a revolutionary step forward and more like a cautionary tale of what happens when lofty visions clash with real-world engineering. At the core of the Cybertruck's construction flaw was a seemingly simple yet essential piece, the K-rail assembly. This part, running along both sides of the windshield, was designed to act as the truck's structural spine, linking the roof to the front frame. In their futuristic design approach, Tesla's engineers decided to hold the K-rail in place using a specialized structural adhesive. This adhesive was promoted as a cutting-edge solution, capable of withstanding environmental pressure, road vibrations, and the extreme conditions the truck was expected to endure. For a high-performance vehicle made to handle tough climates and the daily grind, the adhesive was presented as a revolutionary fix. It was the ideal answer for a new generation of drivers who wanted durability without compromise. But in reality, the adhesive didn't perform as expected. Tesla either misjudged or overhyped the material's ability to endure real-world conditions. The constant shifts between hot and cold climates, known as thermal cycling, caused the adhesive to deteriorate. Road vibrations from the powerful engine, along with everyday wear, gradually weakened the bond. Eventually, moisture seeped into the joints. The outcome was disastrous. The panels didn't just crack, they broke away entirely from the vehicle's frame. It was a shocking failure. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, NHTSA, issued a report stating this wasn't simply a component malfunction, it represented the collapse of an entire vision. Tesla had promised a game-changing vehicle to a forward-thinking audience. The Cybertruck was meant to be the ultimate truck of tomorrow, a technological marvel. Instead, it was falling apart in public view. The NHTSA's findings were a wake-up call. But beyond the official verdict, it was the public's reaction that truly mossed. The first few cases of Cybertruck panel detachment emerged, they quickly spread across social media. What began as a few isolated events soon turned into viral sensations, sparking widespread conversation and outrage. Regular people, everyday drivers, were seen peeling off Cybertruck panels using nothing but their bare hands. There were no tools or excessive force involved, just a grip and a gentle pull. It appeared as if the panels were attached with something as weak as a simple sticker. Videos began to flood platforms like Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram. Both influencers and regular users shared footage of themselves casually removing the panels, their voices filled with disbelief and sarcasm. Tesla, once considered the gold standard of technological innovation, was suddenly reduced to a laughingstock. Those who had eagerly pre-ordered the Cybertruck now found themselves questioning how a supposedly indestructible vehicle could fall apart so easily. The internet reacted explosively. It wasn't just the shock of the failure, it was the deep sense of betrayal. The Cybertruck had promised to challenge traditional design and stand resilient against any element. Yet here it was, failing at the most fundamental level. But it wasn't only social media poking fun. The issue gained more weight when automotive experts and teardown analysts got involved. What they discovered was far more alarming. The adhesive used to secure the panels, which was assumed to be evenly applied, turned out to be inconsistent. Some areas where the cant rail was bonded showed weak adhesion due to poor application. Other sections, even those exposed to minor moisture or road salt, showed signs of corrosion underneath. This wasn't just a flaw in one batch, it pointed to a deep, systemic problem in the design itself. Tesla responded quickly but quietly. Silent fixes were introduced behind the scenes. Minor issues were patched via software updates, and the number of panel detachment reports began to decrease. Still, the backlash didn't subside. The issue went beyond physical repairs, it was about trust. How could customers rely on the Cybertruck's other high-tech features when its basic structure couldn't hold up? Despite its flashy, headline-grabbing features, the most vital part of the Cybertruck, its structural integrity, was in question. What was once portrayed as a breakthrough in automotive design now looked like a fragile experiment on the verge of collapse. The disaster soon sparked more than just online ridicule, it escalated into real-world backlash. The fallout wasn't just technical, it turned into a nationwide crisis. Tesla's loyal community turned against the company. Showrooms that once welcomed enthusiastic fans were now vandalized with graffiti and angry slogans. The violence was as intense as the disappointment. In cities like New York, Los Angeles, and Denver, destruction was intentional. Tesla's sleek designs were targeted not just with spray paint, but with rage. In Colorado, one woman was arrested for hurling Molotov cocktails at Tesla lots, setting several cars on fire. Graffiti marked showrooms and charging stations with phrases like Nazi cars and steel lies. Once celebrated Tesla vehicles now lay burned and broken, their scorched shells symbolizing the crumbling reputation the brand had spent years building. This wasn't just a design failure, it felt like a betrayal. People believed they had been promised something visionary, only to be let down by harsh reality. The damage extended beyond lost sales. It cut deeply into Tesla's emotional connection with its customers. Those who had once believed in Tesla's bold promise of a revolutionary, sustainable future now felt misled. Tesla's aggressive marketing and promises of an indestructible truck had spectacularly backfired. What was meant to be a daring innovation now seemed like a reckless risk, one that endangered consumer trust and safety. The incident sparked a national discussion about vehicle safety standards. Media outlets began questioning not only the Cybertruck's design but the ethics of how quickly it had been rushed to market. Public confidence had been shattered. No amount of advertising could repair the damage. Tesla's fanbase, the very people who once idolized Elon Musk and his vision, felt abandoned. And yet, despite the growing protests and widespread outrage, Tesla's top leadership stood firm. Elon Musk, seemingly unaffected by the backlash, continued to push forward. Deliveries of the Cybertruck went on, with the company maintaining that the necessary fixes were already being made. The headlines. The news went viral. Progress was said to be underway, yet few real changes were evident. Although Tesla's stock took a hit, most investors held their ground, continuing to believe in Musk's ability to navigate the storm. However, as public outrage grew louder, Tesla could no longer ignore the harsh reality: the trust that once fueled its rise had crumbled. Rebuilding it would be a long, difficult journey filled with setbacks. The damage extended beyond finances, it struck the company's reputation. As the controversy deepened, a troubling question began circulating: could Tesla survive the consequences of its own overconfidence? As the crisis escalated, Tesla's internal weaknesses became increasingly visible. What began as a single issue related to the K-rail assembly quickly expanded into a full-blown investigation that exposed deeper, systemic flaws within the company. Inspectors, both independent and those assigned by regulators, broadened their inquiry beyond the initial concern and delved into Tesla's manufacturing practices. What they uncovered was far more serious than anticipated. Critical welds, essential for vehicle integrity, were inconsistent across various batches. The level of precision required to build such a uniquely angular and complex vehicle seemed to exceed the capabilities of Tesla's production lines. Some welds were applied hastily, showing gaps and visible signs of stress. The Cybertruck's sharp-edged, military-style design demanded extreme precision, something that appeared to be missing from the process. Further scrutiny revealed flaws in the wiring looms, the intricate web of cables powering the vehicle's electrical systems. In some cases, wires were loosely fastened; in others, they crossed in ways that risked abrasion against metal components, potentially causing short circuits. It became increasingly clear that a lack of standardized practices had taken root. Even Tesla's most devoted fans began to question the company's commitment to craftsmanship and quality. Among the most troubling discoveries were incorrect torque measurements on vital components, some significantly off. These errors meant that key structural points were not being properly secured, putting excessive strain on areas critical to the truck's integrity. Panel gaps varied widely between units, even among those on display in Tesla's own showrooms just days earlier. The inconsistencies were undeniable; no two Cybertrucks appeared to be the same. Initially, these problems might have seemed like isolated quality control issues. But as investigations pushed further, it became obvious that Tesla's assembly of the Cybertruck was anything but consistent. The process appeared rushed, reactive, and improvised. The image of a precisely engineered machine was falling apart. The Cybertruck, once praised as a revolutionary leap in vehicle design, had turned into a logistical and manufacturing nightmare. Its bold, industrial aesthetic, which set it apart from competitors, also demanded unmatched precision during production, something Tesla had failed to deliver. What emerged instead was a vehicle unable to meet the lofty expectations Tesla itself had set. Beneath its rugged exterior, the Cybertruck's true weakness wasn't its power or appearance, it was the very process and platform on which it had been built. Then came the financial fallout. Tesla's stock, once a Wall Street favorite, began to decline. At first, the dip was subtle, barely noticeable. But soon, it accelerated sharply, as if the markets had finally awakened to the scale of the issues they'd long overlooked. Analysts who had once praised Tesla's rise began revising their projections downward. Media outlets, once enamored by Musk's bold vision and the company's innovative achievements, shifted their tone and started reporting on Tesla's uncertain future. By the close of the second quarter of 2025, Tesla's market valuation had dropped dramatically, underscoring just how far the company had fallen. Tesla's upper management had been warned about the conrail adhesive issues months before the first recall. A memo dated late 2023 showed internal engineers flagging inconsistent curing conditions, improper application techniques, and a failure to validate bonding strength at scale. The most damning part of the internal note acknowledged that if left unaddressed, the defect could compromise the structural integrity of the cabin during rollover or high-impact events. In plain terms, Tesla knew the K-rail floor wasn't cosmetic, it was structural, and they shipped the trucks anyway. But this wasn't the first sign of trouble. Leaked internal documents obtained by the German newspaper Handelsblatt and Wired revealed that as of January 2022, Tesla was still struggling with its pre-production Alpha Cybertruck prototypes. The issues ranged from weak suspension systems and poor body sealing to braking inconsistencies, excessive noise, and handling problems. The documents painted a clear picture: the Cybertruck was far from production-ready, even as marketing campaigns suggested otherwise. The Cybertruck's structural flaw wasn't a one-off mistake. It wasn't a faulty supplier or a small batch error, it was systemic, built into the very foundation of the vehicle's design and production. Nearly 95% of Cybertrucks inspected showed signs of improper conrail bonding. What should have been a tightly controlled, precision-engineered process had been rushed and improvised under the pressure of aggressive deadlines. the consequences weren't theoretical. In crash simulations conducted by independent researchers, the weakened bonding meant potential failure of the roof structure and windshield retention during rollovers or side impacts. The very exoskeleton that Tesla had marketed as bulletproof now looked dangerously unstable. As the findings went public, the backlash was swift. On social media, viral videos of dislodged panels and crumbling structures painted a devastating portrait of the once-hyped truck. Influencers, teardown experts, and former Tesla engineers all joined the chorus of criticism. News outlets across the globe questioned how the most anticipated vehicle of the decade had managed to launch with such a glaring structural flaw. Tesla CEO Elon Musk responded with a combination of defense and reassurance. During a Fox News interview with Sean Hannity, Musk acknowledged the recalls but stood by Tesla's record. He emphasized the company's commitment to resolving the issues and reaffirmed Tesla's intention to prioritize customer safety and satisfaction. But for many, the damage was already done. The Cybertruck, once seen as a symbol of the future, was now a case study in overreach. It wasn't just a matter of fixing a truck, it was about restoring credibility to a company that had promised too much, too soon. This was the moment the myth broke. When the steel curtain fell away, what was revealed wasn't the future but a factory rushing to keep up with fantasy. If a company like Tesla can build the future and still miss the basics, what else might be hiding in plain sight? Share your thoughts in the comments. Thank you for watching this video with us and catch you in the next one.